Good evening, and welcome to the APMS Evening News. I'm your anchor, Jerry Foist. Tonight we have a true underdog story for you. It's that of Republican presidential candidate John McCain. Earlier last year, McCain suffered in finding supporters and also suffered financially, and nearly went bankrupt. But he soon overcame that deficit and is now the presumptive presidential nominee for the Republican Party. For more on this story, we turn to our reporter Jan Levinson. Good evening, Jan.
Good evening, Jerry. Back in 2000, Senator John McCain made an unsuccessful bid for the White House. He is currently competing for a more successful shot at the presidency with higher hopes than that of the 2000 election. Just 9 months ago, Senator McCain was not ranked among one of the likely candidates to capture the presidency and was nearing bankruptcy with his campaign. He soon found support in Iowa with a third-place finish, and then a first-place finish in New Hampshire. Voters have seen a winner's mentality in McCain and have flocked to him with their support and money. He now holds more than the required 1,191 delegates to receive the GOP nomination. I sat down with Senator McCain to discuss his past journey and his outlook on his possible presidency. At the beginning of the 2008 race, how did you think you would fare among the Republican and Democratic candidates?
Well, Jan, I knew I had past experience with the campaign in 2000, so that put me at an advantage. But like any other campaign, you have to do what you can to capture the position you're competing for, and that takes both honesty and integrity, and I knew I had that. So to answer your question, I was overall pretty optimistic about our campaign and our position in this race.
How has overcoming the deficit in this race affected you as a person?
As Charles Dickens put it, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I think that overcoming the hard times has only gone one way, and that's up. And through these times, it has built integrity, character, and honesty in me in my campaign. It has showed me what politics is all about. We fail, and sometimes we end up succeeding. And now is my time to succeed, so I look forward to living in the White House come January of 2009.
You were a POW and a soldier in the Vietnam War and continue to strongly support the war in Iraq. How do you feel the status is in Iraq, and when do you think we should pull out our troops?
It's funny you ask this, because no matter how many times a reporter asks this, my views stay the same and will not waver. Yes, I supported the war in Iraq from the forefront, and I think it's well worth its blood and treasure. We have great leadership over there in General Petraeus and the troops under him. I went to Iraq to talk to many of our soldiers recently, and there's only one resounding echo from them. Let us win. Let us win this war. They don't plan on coming home until the job is done, and that's the same mentality that I have. We don't pull these brave men and women until this war is done and Iraq is stable.
Do you have any specific person in mind for the vice president position?
Oh, Jan, this question has been thrown at me a few good times, and I can't quite tell you who I'm going to go with. I just know there are many good men out there who are well qualified for the position, and it's just a matter of my time and finding that right person who will complete this campaign and will seal my way to the presidency.
There you have it, a true underdog story where integrity was built and success in fair sight. We send it back to you in the studio.
Indeed it is. Thank you, Jan. In other news, there is a new study out that says that the water circulation of Lake Tahoe is being altered by global warming. This study states that if global greenhouse emissions continue at current levels, the water circulation could become less frequent and might even stop by 2019. For more on this matter, we turn to Deborah Kobayashi.
Thank you, Jerry. Experts at the Tahoe Environmental Research Center say that Tahoe's famous blue waters could turn into a murky green. This will also affect the wildlife inhabiting the lake.
Thank you, Deborah. Now here's a clip of Nigel Beauregard, a British scientist from the Tahoe Environmental Research Center, explaining this matter. Global warming is threatening this lake's ecosystem and famous clear waters. Warmer lake temperatures are being invasive to species, leaving fewer native cold water fish. Lake Tahoe could become like any other ordinary lake or pond. It will no longer be unique or a great example of nature's grandeur. We had Deborah talk to a few people from the area around the lake and ask them if they had seen any changes. Here's what they said.
Have you noticed any changes in the lake's color?
No, none at all. It's still blue, I think.
So the water doesn't look murky to you or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay. So what about you? Have you noticed any changes?
Well, now that you mention it, I guess it looks a bit murky, but They say it'll be several years before anything drastic happens, so I guess not.
Okay.
All right, so there you have it for our environmental update. Next, find out why golf carts could cause extreme injuries or even fatalities. We'll have that and more on the other side of this break. We'll be right back. Do you know what new Disney Pixar movie comes out on June 27th?
No, which one?
It's WALL-E. Did you hear that?
What was that?
That's WALL-E. It's WALL-E.
Don't he make like trash squares or something?
Yeah, he's a robot left on Earth, and he's left to use the resources that he has left on Earth to make trash squares. He promotes a green Earth.
Are you gonna go see WALL-E?
We are. Come join us in the movie viewing of WALL-E. See you at the show! Welcome back to the APMS Evening News. We have a story about a golf cart gone rampant and what turned into a bloody affair. For the details on this story, we go live to Evan Schrute, who is on the scene. Evan, what do you have for us?
Earlier this week, in a small town north of Conroe, Texas, there was a nearly fatal golf cart wreck in which 4 people were in the golf cart and 3 were injured. This is where the wreck occurred, in this ditch right here. I am here with the 2 sisters, Becca and Sarah Lewis, one of which was a bystander during the accident and one of which was obviously injured. Cast. And, okay, my first question is for Sarah Lewis. What was your first inclination whenever the wreck occurred?
Oh my gosh.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. And the next one, for the injured one, what was your first feeling whenever you hit the pavement at a high rate of speed?
It hurt.
Were you excited about going to the hospital?
No.
Well, they don't say much, Jerry. Back to you.
Indeed, a truly tragic affair, and we wish the best for those of the families as well as the victims. In other news, the massive rains in the Midwest has brought flooding to major cities as well as their suburban areas. For more on these floods and the stories, we go to our field reporter, Abby Cervantes, who is live outside of St. Louis. Abby?
The flooding broke a record from 1897 for the most rain. The previous record was 8.2 and the new record is 8.5. Many houses were damaged by the water and there is more rain expected in the next week. I spoke with a few people from this area. Did you evacuate before the flooding happened?
Yes, I did, and I was able to get out all of my valuables before our house flooded.
Did you evacuate before the flooding happened?
No, I didn't think it'd be much of a big deal, so I just kind of stayed, and we didn't have too much water damage, which was fortunate, so we stayed. We didn't evacuate.
Thank you.
Yeah. As always, it's never good to see those houses flooded, and we can only pray for the families involved. That concludes tonight's broadcast. On behalf of all of us at APMS News, I'm Jerry Foist. Good night.